Okay.
Okay.
I
Go
know
ahead.
your kids are out of that range.
They're old.
Let's say you had an 8-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 12-year-old at home right now. Would you feel okay with them having conversations with the chatbot?
Not non-mediated, right? Private conversations, no. Public conversations, yeah, I think I'd encourage it. I think that there's a famous Neil Postman quote about if a family doesn't control its information environment, it's not a family. It's basically a biological unit, right? So that's part of my responsibility is as a parent is to shape kind of the intellectual and the contextual environment that they're in. So
If a family doesn't control the information,
yeah, environment. Yeah. Well, he says there's two ways.
environment, it's a biological unit.
Yeah.
It's not a family. Family requires a certain amount of diligence and
Well, and decisions, right?
yeah,
And judgments
decision.
about this is what I want them to do. So, but he
Yeah.
said two ways to do it. One, lock yourself out from the world. So that's one AI approach, right? I'm not using it's bad. I don't want my kids to ever use chat. But the other is to have an ongoing dialogue with what your kids are seeing, right? What those young people are seeing. And I think that's the same whether they're 4 or whether they're 60, right? Is have this dialogue. And I think that well educated, people that go to good schools and come from families that really value education, that's what they do. Right. Oh, that was surprising. Oh, that's, and that I sent you that link by the guy Garrett Gong, who talked about how LDS people, church leaders, other saints people can view AI, but that's the approach, is that you should definitely, these kids need to be exposed to it and know how to use it. They need to know the strengths and they need to know the weaknesses of it. Because hiding from it is a huge mistake. Yeah, I don't want to sound like Elon Musk, but it is really one of the major changes in human history that we've run into. But that's easy to say, right? And it's easy to say that it's hard and messy. What's hard to do is then figure out, okay, how do we apply it? And I think that's where your students will ultimately help others figure this out, right? Because they will figure out both in the enterprise, they also figure out where it fits in software development and marketing services that help other people figure out how to leverage this the best they can. And that the main thing that I see that's changing is that the task we're trying to solve, so the problems we're trying to solve, we just went into a different category and scale of what problems that software can help us solve.
Yeah, my students that you allude to are executive education students, and I will tell you that in private conversations with many, many of them, outside of the professional conversations we have, people express a lot of concern over the effect that this environment will have on children and grandchildren, and ultimately, that's really what matters. When we talk about you think
Yeah.
about people in law school, if you have a child that is in law school, they're still your child, even when they graduate. It's sort of funny as we get old. But Dave Armand, this has been a really, really great conversation. Thank you for sharing your experiences with us.